To the House Rules Review. My name is Jonathan Dofer. This is my daughter Evelyn.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk about another of the Christmas or winter themed games that we're bringing to our Christmas in July event at Renegade Games in Seminole, Florida. If you get a chance to check it out, see us there. It'll be July 27th. But we're going to talk about Snow Tales. Now, Snow Tales is a reprint by Renegade Games. It's been reprinted, I think, 2 times now. This copy is really cool. Snow Tales is a dog sled racing game. If you like Formula D, you'll love this. If you're not a huge fan of Formula D, that's okay, because this is quite a bit easier on the decision making, I think. It's easy for kids to pick up. There's really only like one type of action, and it's super simple. So I'm going to tell you about that real quick. And then we've got the board set up for a 2-player game. We'll show you how that looks. It's super pretty, and it's got a lot of diversity because all the tiles are double-sided, which is nice. But let me tell you kind of how it works. So everybody has one of these sleds here, right? And they start out 3, 3, and 3. You have a little break token. It goes in there. It looks like this, right? And so you start out completely balanced, 3, 3, and 3. And what happens is on your turn, you can play either 1, 2, or 3 cards. You'll have a deck of cards that have cards that look like this. They're dogs, right? And they're all numbered 1 through 5. Okay, and you actually have a total of 4 sets of 1 through 5 for a total of 20 cards. And so when you first start out, you'll have a hand of 5 cards. Let's say that this was my hand, right? And what you can do is you can play 1, 2, or 3 cards, but the cards you play have to match. So I can play, for example, from this hand, 1, 1, 1, or 1, 5, or 1, 2, or I can play both of my 4s together. Now you can play them anywhere on your sled, and it will update that portion of the sled. So for example, I can play a 4 here and change this dog to a 4. A 4 here, change this dog to a 4. Or the 4 here and change my break from a 3 break to a 4. And what happens when you go to move is you take the total of your dogs, you add them together, then you subtract your break. That tells you how many you're moving. If they are different, like say this is my dogs here, a 3 and a 2, then if this was my setup, 3, 2, and 3, then I have 5 minus 3. I'm moving 2 spaces. Because these are not the same, then what's happening is I'm banking at the difference between these. So I'm banking 1 space this way, right? So I'm moving 1 space over and then 1 space up for my 2 spaces. It's that simple. If I wanted to slow down, for example, I could increase my break to be a higher number. If I wanted to speed up, I could either make my dogs go faster or make my break a lower number. But the way that you turn is the difference of your dogs. So if I wanted to turn the other direction, maybe I might play a 5 here instead of a 3. Then I'd be going this way by a couple of spaces instead. That's really all it is. You just have to keep in mind that whatever cards you're playing, they're restricted by the cards that are in your hand, and whatever cards you play have to match each turn. I can't play a 2 and a 4, right? I have to play the same number. That doesn't mean that I can't play the 2. I just would play the 2 by itself and only adjust one of my items. And that's your turn. You play your card down, adjust what you're adjusting, and then you move correspondingly. So that aspect of the game is really pretty simple, I think. Yeah, there's a little bit of math involved, but it's never more than 5 plus 5. Most people can do that. Even most kids can do that. So you're okay there. The hardest part is making the decision of which way to bank and when, and also when to adjust the break. And I think people get hung up sometimes on the break. But that's really all the actions that you do. I'm going to point this down in a minute and show you the board. Evelyn, what do you think of the game so far from what you've seen? How do you like it?
I like it. a little bit since I haven't played it yet.
You haven't played it yet, I know. How does it look? Does it look fun to you? Yeah? What do you think looks the most fun?
The racing in this area.
The racing? Yeah? What do you think? Does it look pretty? Is there nice colors to it? Okay. Okay. We're going to turn this down a little bit and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So this is a really small track I just made. They actually have tracks on the end of the book, which kind of give you an idea of, you know, some ways to set it up. The game itself isn't terribly long. It just depends on the number of players you have and also how experienced they are. We played a 5-player game, all adults, and it took about an hour and 45 to 2 hours. But none of us had played before. We were all learning from the get-go. So you have your sleds here, and one of the other things that can happen with your sled is if both sides are perfectly balanced, meaning they're equal, you get a bonus movement based on your position on the track. So if, for example, I'm here, right, so I'm second, if my dogs are perfectly balanced, then I get a bonus movement equal to my position. So I would get a bonus movement of +2 to my move. Now, that's only if these dogs are equal, meaning I'm not banking anywhere, I'm just going straight, right? That said, you can have trees on the board, which I think the trees are super pretty. They're just little pine tree meeples, but they definitely give it a Christmassy kind of vibe. If you hit a tree, then you take a dent card, and that replaces a card in your hand. So then for the rest of the game, your hand is now 4 instead of 5. If you hit the side of the track, the same thing occurs, you take a dent card. If you hit another player, you just basically stop at the space before you would hit them. You end your turn and don't refill your hand, because normally you refill your hand at the end of the turn, back up to 5 or whatever your max is with dent cards. So you would just basically have a shorted hand next turn because you had to stop early. But that's pretty much how you go. So we'll just take a couple of quick turns and show you, how the movement works, and then kind of go from there. Evelyn, do you want to shuffle your deck and draw 5 cards? Yeah. It's okay. Got him there. And while she's doing that, there's also this nifty little token in there. Now this guy, I would say be careful, because what this token is for is it is supposed to be for whoever is taking a super long time on their turn. When we played the other day, we actually had a great time with this. It was a lot of fun. Because a couple of the guys had played Formula D before, and my wife was there with us, and then a new guy who I guess had played Formula D as well. But this token, we were passing it around the table the whole time. We're like, hey, you're taking too long, sir. And we had a good time. Everybody laughed when we do that. And we were playing some Christmas-themed music we were playing. It could be offensive in the wrong format if someone was, a little bit touchy. But we had a good time with it. It was a lot of fun. And it just says in the book, basically, you just give this to whoever is taking too long in their turn. So we had a good time with that. We thought it was fun. But I thought it was a neat way to include something in the game to kind of move the game along. So I thought it was cool on the designer's part. We're going to shift this back down again. So we've got our sleds. So Evelyn's going to go first. So Evelyn, pick your 5 cards off the top of the deck. You've got a couple of cards. Maybe, since you've got a straight path, maybe you just want to go straight. So let's do this. If you're going to go straight, you don't really want to adjust your sled at all. I'm just going to leave it right there. So just take your 3 in your hand. Just play it right here. And that demonstrates something else that's really cool is you don't have to really make any changes. You can just play a card that's the same on top of something, and you still just follow that. So she would move 3 plus 3 is 6. Minus 3 is how many?
Minus 3 is...
6 minus 3 is?
6 minus 3 is 3.
3. And then you are first player, so you get a bonus 1, so you're moving 3 plus 1 is how many?
3 plus 1 is 4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight ahead, no problem. And then she would leave this card up. If she had a card underneath it, she would throw that to her discard pile, so that when your deck runs out, you can reshuffle that and be ready to go. Now, I kind of want to catch up, but I've got a tree in the way that I don't want to hit. So maybe what I might do is I might take this 5 and play it here, right? So now what is happening is, actually, yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to play that. I'm trying to bank, but I think I'm going to bank too far. We'll see. I have 5 plus 3 is 8, minus 3 is 5, and I'm banking over 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can bank at any time during your turn. So I was able to move, right? Move, bank, basically, which is fine. Now I'm still sitting in front of this tree. If I whack it, I'm going to be in a bad spot, but right now I'm okay. The other thing we have coming up on the board is this 3 turn. Anytime that you're crossing over a turn marker like this, where it has a speed indicator, if you are going over that speed when you cross it, you take 1 dent per speed you're over. So right now, my cumulative speed is 5, because that is up to my speed. If I don't bring that down by next turn, then I'm going to be taking some dents for crossing that speed threshold too fast. But that's pretty much the game. I mean, you just do that until someone gets all the way around to the finish. There are all kinds of tiles that have challenges, like this one, which basically makes you kind of go through a pipe there. And so there's all kinds of things in this game. They're all double-sided tiles. You can make it an easier one if you wanted. If you weren't playing with people that knew what they were doing, you want to do something simple and easy. But that's pretty much it. So that is the game, Snow Tales. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the game looked really pretty, really thematic. Like I said, the movement in and of itself, how to do it isn't hard. When to do it, that's the challenge. And those dent cards can be crushing, so you really want to try to avoid them, because if you get too many at the wrong time, you can be really hamstrung for the game. When we played, I didn't take any right away. I took them about halfway through the game, and I thought I was going to win. I was in first and second for a while. I ended up finishing in second with 2 dent cards, I think. We had somebody else that didn't take them at all and ended up in like 4th because he didn't take the risk. So it just can vary a little bit. But we had a lot of fun. Evelyn, what do you have any thoughts about this game?
I like this game. It's cool to my seeing and playing one turn. So someone would like this game.
Okay. Well, we'll probably play it again some more and then let Evelyn tell you more about what she feels about it another time. But that's it. So this one here, Snow Tales. It's a fun little quick sledding game. It's a good time. If you have any questions, definitely put them in the comments below. Check out links for other videos or subscribe if you like what we're doing here. And then if you get a chance to make it out to the event of Serenity, definitely do that. Until next time, keep on gaming.